1 week? It's only 1 week before Thanksgiving? Wow, welcome. It's Friday, November 18th. Rob and Andy had a great show for y'all yesterday. I saw some really good comments out there. Yeah, I'll let them. They'll continue being on there without me sometime. We're getting really close to having our living room set up for us. Can't wait. We should call it some kind of name like Day in the Living Room or something. I don't know. We should think of some really cool name, guys.
That'd be cool.
You know, there is a lot of bad news out there right now, and you know, according to NBC now, it's looking like it could be 7 days before this railroad strike starts. Remember, the Biden administration, Sleepy Joe, they put on a temporary Band-Aid, but it looks like they could be striking any time. There's a lot of railroad Teamster workers out there. It's like hundreds of thousands. There's a couple 100,000 or something like that. It's a big number out there. But that could bring the economy really quick into a fast recession. But, you know, I got to tell you, I think we're already in a recession.
I agree.
I mean, everything that you're seeing, mortgage rates, housing, I mean, everything is pointing toward a recession. They just don't want to scare us, I think is what they don't want to do. I think that's what they want to do, right?
Yeah, Rob mentioned yesterday, what was that statistic about the housing?
Yeah, so the housing, homebuyer traffic is at the lowest level since 2008.
Yeah, that's major. And then you couple that together with what we saw with the credit card debt, now highest in.
You guys aren't even on.
Oh,
I'm back. I'm back. There we go.
Are we on?
There we go. Now, there you are.
Hey, so credit card, with what Rob was saying about the slowdown in real estate, and then we talked about how credit card debt is 15-year high right now. People are really. That means people are struggling when they're going to their credit cards. Nobody likes to do that. And then you're seeing the real estate slowdown. There's new startups in real estate. And the next thing now is prices. Real estate will really start to dip. And that's when people wake up, because Rob made a good point yesterday. Most people think of their house as their main store of wealth.
You know, you guys, let me tell you something. Recession is way worse than inflation. I'm telling you that right now. And because when those two combined, it's like a tornado. And that's what we have. And that's why you'll hear Jim Rickards and Paul Tudor Jones, all these guys talking about a tsunami. Well, that's exactly what's happening right now. I want to get you guys' idea on right now the U.S. existing home sales. They're crashing at their fastest pace since Lehman Brothers. Remember what happened with us in Lehman? That's when the market crashed, right?
Yeah. No,
when Lehman Brothers lost everything, people lost their jobs. This is what Andy's talking about. And Andy, let me tell you something. The first glimpse of October's housing market after September's slump, it's not a pretty one right now. That U.S. existing homes in October collapsed at 5.9%, and that's the ninth straight monthly decline in sales. And this monthly decline, this monthly decline actually pushed the year-over-year drop in existing home sales. Are you ready for this? I want to see your face. 28.4%. It's the worst level since, here we go, 2008.
Wow. That's very serious.
That's a fast pace.
That's very serious. We're in a recession. If you look at the last, we had those two negative GDP growth, and then they had one quarter which had that very suspicious, like 2.5. It was just, but there were a lot of suspicious things about how they did the numbers. So, people know we're in a recession. You can see it on people's faces. They know, they can see that what's going on. When the waves, you're riding the wave up, and when you're riding the wave down. And it really seems like right now, that we're not going in the right direction.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you. You guys know what's going on in Brazil, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. This is it's getting more and more interesting, like the Sam Bankman Fraudman case. This is getting interesting too, because now if you went out and protested and participated in any of those rallies against the Brazilian government and was supporting Bolsonaro, you would have your bank accounts frozen and you would also lose your assets.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
They're going after your bank accounts and your assets. So don't fuck with the far left, or they will just take everything that you own. What's your thoughts on that?
Hey, we saw that in Canada with the trucker strike, right? We saw that
Trudeau
last
did
year.
that.
Yeah, we saw that last year. They tried to freeze their accounts, and believe me, people, you got to wake up. Rob's always telling you, wake up, get your house in order. This could happen here. You don't think so? Believe me, Canada's very close, right? It happened in Brazil. Brazil has very strong candidate, Bolsonaro, very, like they call him the Trump of Brazil. These things are scary and frightening, but this is what the government wants to try to do.
Scare you.
Yeah, we're going to shut your account down.
Yeah.
If you are an election denier, your
yeah.
account will be shut down. You've been called an election denier. You have no funds. Do you have gold and silver? I hope so.
Yesterday, I heard you guys had a really busy day here yesterday, and that there was a lot of people calling in for gold and silver. And you can call us at 800-753-8534, 800-753-8534. It's scary because think about this digital currency now, this pilot program that all these major banks are participating in right now. Well, it would be easy for them. Well, they already know what money you got in the bank. They know everything already, right? So it's really sad that they can just take your own assets from you if you speak what you feel. Freedom of speech, right?
It's stunning. I mean, we've never seen anything like this.
Freedom of speech seems to be going away. It just seems like you can't say or do anything anymore or participate in anything anymore, and God forbid, I mean, what's going on now? I mean, we've got, even though the election is over with, and thank God we had California pull in the 218th vote. I told you that was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Thank God for that. There was like 4 people that we have in California now that are representing us. So thank God I voted Republican on the ticket all the way.
It looks like we might have 3 more, too.
But that's what I'm seeing that. Yeah. And I heard something about Lauren Boebert, she is one as well. That's from what I understand. But now they're going to do a recall because
so we may end up with 222.
Yeah, and then I've been watching the party get behind Herschel Walker really big now because that's coming up as well. Listen, even though we are winning the House, we're still going to have a lot of friction with the Senate, right? With the far left or with the left. But there's a lot of going to be brought in and wondering and let me tell you something, that's what they're doing this for, is so that we can actually see what went on behind the scenes, right? Like with Hunter Biden's laptop.
I can't wait for that. I can't wait for Jim Jordan to be,
Do you think? Let me ask you.
Rob, we looked up Jim Jordan, and Jim Jordan was an NCAA champion. Wrestler.
Big
champion.
Guy.
Top in the country.
He didn't fuck around.
No, he was only 135 pounds.
Yeah, but he didn't fuck around.
Rob, who was a state champion high school wrestler, Rob can tell you what a level you have to be on to be at that level, the mentality you have. So I hope he uses that, that incredible focus you need, that mentality you need to wrestle to take down the Bidens. This is going to be very, very fun to see.
Take down the Bidens. Remember,
right?
He's not only that. Remember that he was a coach too. He coached.
Oh right.
Oh yeah, but he not only coached. Wasn't it Pennsylvania that he coached? Wisconsin. He coached, but he not only coached. He's a lawyer. So, he knows.
Not a guy you want to mess with.
No, and that Comer guy ain't somebody you want to mess with either, the one that's going after the Biden family and all of the crookedness that's going on. Yeah. Look, I'm telling you, I cannot wait. It's like me waiting for the next series of something to come up on TV. Can't wait to watch it, right? And I hope that they do what the Democrats did on the January 6th hearing. I hope they publish it TV, like a regular series, like they did. Made it a showstopper.
I don't think the mainstream media will carry that, but you'll be able to see it. Gateway Pundit will, or Right Side Broadcasting will probably have it.
Big guy's gonna get taken down.
Yeah, but you're not going to see that on ABC or NBC or MSNBC.
It goes against their narrative.
Exactly. Not gonna, but we'll be able to see it. You know.
I'll be honest with you. I think that the brother Jim Biden is the real. I think
He's a real big guy.
I think so, because listen, he's the one you don't hear a whole lot about. It's Joe and Hunter, right? So it'll be interesting to see what comes of this Jim guy, right? I'd love to get in to see what his bank account's like and everything. And then Jill Biden. I mean, she's just a puppet. Joe needed someone to sleep with, I think. After he lost his wife, which was a sad time. But anyway, what? I'm just being straight, you know. I'm just being straight. But this is interesting how the Supreme Court orders.
I would like you to refer to Jill Biden as doctor from now on.
Dr.
Please.
Jill
Dr.
Biden.
Even though she only has a degree in education.
Well, Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a
It was really funny on everyone's favorite show called The View. Whoopi Goldberg said that Jill Biden would make a great Surgeon General. She thought she was really a medical doctor. She's like,
oh no, she's not.
No, duh.
Just like Dr. Phil.
No, but Whoopi Goldberg.
He ain't a real doctor. I don't think so. He's the one that.
He's a psychiatrist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
A psychiatrist of what?
But he's like they're a psychoanalyst.
Bullshit. Anyway.
But anyway, she
so.
immediately thought that she was a medical doctor, and she would say, "Oh, she would be a great Surgeon General," without knowing a thing about her. And she just has a degree in education, right? Which is really you don't even to call somebody doctor for a degree in education. And believe me, I know those education doctorate people. You know, it's just a way to puff yourself up, to puff your ego up.
Do you like your title, teach?
Do I what?
Do you like your title being a teacher?
Oh, it is what it is. What can I do?
You paid a lot of money for that name.
I did?
Well, didn't you pay for going to school and all your loans and all that? You had to pay all them student loans back and all that?
I did pay my loans back. And if they do a student loan forgiveness, I want my money back.
Well, I tell you what,
I paid my money back. I'm an upstanding.
Are you going to be in one of them out with a rally? No, listen, Biden's trying to pull all that shit back, even though it was blocked. The Biden family, they are not happy about this at all.
So it was blocked, but they're still trying to pull
They're still trying to pull that shit through. Yeah. Did anybody ever, I wonder, did anyone ever get any of it recalled? Did any of their loans get paid? Or did none of it got?
I think the judge blocked it.
Nah, I think it was all a bullshit scam just during the midterms anyway, right?
Exactly.
Just to get more
exactly
more votes is what that was. Hey, there is an attorney by the name of John Deaton. Have you all heard about him? John Deaton is requesting that an investigation into SEC Gary Gensler in connection with Sam the Scam Man. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I did. He taught.
What do you guys know about that?
I think Gary Gensler worked.
Gary Gensler is the SEC.
Yeah, but he was at MIT and he was working with.
Okay, yeah, that's what
Ellison's father, right?
So now they want a deep investigation into Gensler, is what they're wanting.
They should. Gensler probably had to know what was going on.
FTX is a government psyop operation to dismantle and create regulation for crypto. But, little do they know that, Senator Republican.
Wait, you guys were calling Sam the Man, Scam, Bank Man, whatever his name is. You were calling him a psyop. You said he is a CIA.
He's a psyop.
He could very well be.
He could very well be a psyop.
Isn't his girlfriend now they're pointing the fingers at her that she and he's blaming her for
all
this
the accounting
now?
issues
I
is
told
her
you
fault,
he would do that, didn't I? He's going to start pointing the finger at his herpes girlfriend, the one that was receiving all this money, right, for Alameda Research?
Yeah, she was the CEO of Alameda Research, correct? Yeah.
Wow. So I don't know. All I know is that the Bahamas now have instructed that Sam the Man, Scam Man, Poodle Hair Man, that his assets be moved into the Bahamian government. Why do you think that they want to have those assets? Why do you think the Bahamas moving those? Was What do you think's going behind this?
I mean, number one, the U.S. they don't have jurisdiction,
That's right.
to actually confiscate, his overseas assets. I mean, to be honest with you,
Do you think the Bahamas will extradite him to the United States?
I don't think so, dude. I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty.
So the Bahamas
I'm very
would be the ones
pessimistic
that
about
would
this
because the Bahamas is very crooked.
happen.
The Bahamas is really crooked.
Listen, all he
Remember those people? Wait, remember those people that died in the hotel and they never did
because of the poisoning at the resort.
You never heard anybody get convicted of that. Remember? That was like watching that. What's that show on HBO? Where they're showing these guests and they go to this hotel.
In Hawaii?
Yeah, when they were in Hawaii, but they go to these faraway. What's the name of that show on HBO?
I was thinking of White Lotus.
That's it, White Lotus. Well, they got a second season out now. Have you seen? It's already out. I've been watching it.
Oh, is it?
And it's the same type of setup. Things happen in the hotel room, right?
Yeah.
But it's interesting because holy moly. These people got killed in the Bahamas, but I don't think anyone ever got convicted. They just started dying from the poison, right? So the Bahamians know how to hide things. And not only that, there was also, remember Nicole? Remember? Nicole, the big girl? My God. She died over at the in Hollywood, Florida, at the Hard Rock hotel,
Okay.
and then she was living with her attorney boyfriend over in, and she had the baby girl, and it was all the lawsuit.
Oh, no, I don't remember.
Y'all don't know. Anyway, Bahamas is known for hiding things, and so it'll be interesting. Anna Nicole is who I was talking about.
Anna Nicole. Gotcha.
Nicole Smith.
Anna Nicole had property over in the Bahamas as well. And anyway, they're known for hiding things, so it'll be interesting. But I think this guy is going to get his justice due, even though you and I got $5
Well,
bet.
guess what? If the Bahamas is as crooked as it's set out to be, then all he would have to do is say, hey, listen, I have $1 billion, liquid. I'll pay you 200 million, 300 million. Toss this under the rug and just let me go. I'll be on my way. I mean. Well, I mean, I sent Alan the actual accounting records of Alameda Research, and it looks like he paid himself out in donations of a total of $1.2 billion, right? So, I mean, he has the money. It's just where's the money at?
Well, here's the thing. So this Sam the Bank Man, Scam Man, he actually told a news agency that his ex-girlfriend, Carolyn Ellison's company, Alameda, was the one that was responsible for gambling and losing his company's money, to which he was oblivious until it was too late. Well, what's interesting is, let me tell you something. I don't know if y'all knew this, but when Madoff made off with all that money, the way Madoff did it was, and remember, he was head of the stock exchange, president of the stock exchange. He was a big man. He was doing all this stuff. And it was interesting because it went on for so many years and nobody ever saw it, which is kind of interesting when it was all these lots of money, right? I'm not sure exactly how many billions of dollars it was. But anyway, what they were doing is exactly what Sam the Scam Man and his ex-girlfriend are doing, is they were cooking the books. So what they did was they would show that your money was X amount, that you had X amount. Well, nobody ever took their crypto out because why? They got charged for taking out crypto, that sort of thing, right? And it was doing well according to what their numbers were, right? While crypto was going down, FTX was blowing up, which is kind of weird. So that should have been a sign right there. And Gary Gensler should have seen that, according to what I'm thinking, right? And then, so now what they're doing is they're showing you that you're making this money, but in the back scene, they're literally stealing the money away from you, taking it.
You know, what it really comes down to is real simple. From my experience, the only reason why I would use a centralized exchange is on an on and off ramp. So when I'm looking to put money into crypto or looking to take money from crypto and deposit it back into my deposit account, right? But, the ones that keep their money on those exchanges are ones who are just like very unsophisticated. And secondly, FTX, not FTX.us, is completely different from their actual live trading platform. So these are people doing live trades, thinking that they're actually making profit on their trades, but little do they know,
getting scammed in the back
on
end.
the back end, they're getting rug pulled, right?
Yeah.
It's a very sad situation. I'm surprised that we haven't heard about people committing suicide or people and their stories, right? And that's going to be a big thing. Like there should be somebody that goes and interviews the people who use the exchange just to hear their experience and their stories and to see where they're at.
I know. You'd think you would hear more of that. It's interesting. We're not hearing any more. We're not hearing like all the investors that got scammed and their stories. That's a really good
think
point.
they're being quiet because there's and it was a lot like this with Madoff as well. First of all, it's very embarrassing.
There's a massive lawsuit.
There's a huge thing getting ready to come out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Remember, we just found out about this last week, like brand new. This is hot news, right?
Yeah.
And from what I'm hearing now is that even the employees, like the ones that were his friends and all that, they were all dipping in. It was like a cookie.
What?
Oh, yeah, they were all dipping in, buying homes in the Bahamas. That's why the Bahamas. This is interesting. They're all buying these fancy $1 million homes in the Bahamas.
Even like the employees.
Oh, yeah,
I was under the impression that the money was circulating at the top.
No, they were taking
The
it.
entire company
Everybody
had
was
to
dipping
buy.
in and taking money out of there is what they were taking. That's why this is a nightmare fiasco, right? And it's interesting because Bankman Fried responded. He said he thought that Alameda had enough collateral to cover it. And he says it was never the intention. He says sometime life creeps up on you.
Oh my God.
That's what he said.
Such a dick ass thing to say.
And let me tell you this. They asked him and said, so what would you have done differently if you got another shot? And the owner says he would offboard Alameda from FTX to another scam company. And he also walked back in his previous comments about the importance of ethics and called it a front. Yeah, no, literally, he's going to try to push it all off of him like he's this stupid little naive punk. And that's what this kid is. He's a punk.
Well, he's totally protected. He's protected. I think there's a good chance he is part of the government or a PSYOP.
But why would they put somebody like that in there?
A way to manipulate funds and move funds around and get it to the Democrat. Obviously, he's getting huge amounts of money to the top Democrats.
Well, be careful what you say. We don't want that to get too far.
That's a fact. What do you mean,
Allegedly.
Even though it's a fact.
Yeah, allegedly.
His mother had one of the biggest.
Yeah, no, I
biggest
get
PACs.
it. They were all connected to each other.
Multi-million-dollar deals to all kinds of people, all mostly far left people, and then a few rhinos too, but almost all far. He was obviously a far left supporter.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's who knows what's going to happen with all this. I'll tell you what, over not far down the road from us over in San Francisco right now, they are launching a guaranteed income program for people who are now transgender using taxpayers' money. So I guess if you just tell them, Rob, you're a tranny, that you maybe dress up in a wig and you can get some extra money. And you just got and it comes from us taxpayers. Is this crazy?
Yeah, I mean, isn't that discrimination? I mean, giving one segment of the population.
You got
free
so
income?
many people over there on the streets. And by the way, now Karen Bass, I understood that Newsom today is having a meeting of all the mayors of California, and they're now starting this campaign on homeless people in the state of California.
They ain't gonna do shit. They haven't done shit. They're never gonna do shit.
Yeah, they haven't done shit.
Well, you got Karen Bass now.
Wow! Oh boy! Yeah.
What have you ever done?
Yeah, Karen Bass has been in Congress. I can't think of. I've never heard her name
For longer
mentioned.
than I've been alive.
Yeah, why didn't she campaign for money? I think they did campaign for money for the homeless, but it never went to the homeless because they said the homeless didn't want
I
it.
can't believe what a simple problem this is, and they can't even fix it. It's
Yeah.
such a basic thing to get people. You get them into a program. You get them into some kind of, I think they should be sent out to like Palmdale or Riverside, get into a big barracks. give them jobs and exercise.
I can't
Help the
believe
people with mental issues. Obviously, you need mental health support for those people, but you have to get the people off the street. Period. People can't. You think you're doing something good for those people? You're only feeding their drug addiction and their mental illness, and they're going to end up dying on the street or getting raped or something really horrible.
Hey, that's a great idea. I like to do more research into actually setting up like a barracks or like an encampment for these people to where it's all subsidized by the state, right? As towards funding, and I'm going to look more into that because that's actually a really good idea. I mean, something so simple as putting together some sort of barracks facility, some sort of housing facility, and hiring 10 to 20 doctors and psychiatrists to service these people could, number one, make a huge change.
Yeah, and it'll be cost efficient too. These guys, like, they get one housing unit, costs $400,000, $500,000 for one homeless person, and then they're like, the homeless person doesn't even want to stay there because there are rules. They have to follow rules, which they don't want to do. They want to go back out on the street. And I just had, right on the corner where I live, there's a whole new little encampment. Encampment just sprang up, like 5 new tents, and there's a whole new.
It becomes a contagion.
It just spread, and
yeah, it does. I know.
And nobody does anything about it. They haven't done anything about it for 10 years now. I mean, what has Eric Garcetti? What has he done for
Who?
nothing?
Who's Eric Garcetti? I forgot his name. He's our mayor, right?
He's the mayor. He's been the mayor for 10 years.
Wasn't he supposed to be sent off to India for Biden?
He was trying to land a job with Biden.
In India, right?
Trying to get a job with them. But,
oh my God!
Has he done anything for this? I mean,
he never did anything for
it's
this
such
city.
a simple thing. You have to make it a law that people can't be on the street. You have to. That's number one, and they won't do that. The law says that actually you can't even touch their property.
No, they're really. And let me tell you something. I don't know if y'all heard about this, but just what was it? A few nights ago, I saw helicopters from my window. I live on the 10th floor, and I saw all these helicopters. Well, there were helicopters that were in the downtown area, and there were a lot of them. And then I turned on the news, and it turns out that one of the homeless guys down there in downtown LA ran into the Target. You know that Target store that's downtown? Okay. Yeah. Ran into the Target store downtown, went into the kitchen area, grabbed a huge old kitchen knife, and started just stabbing people inside the Target. And in fact, stabbed a little 9-year-old boy. And this little 9-year-old boy got stabbed in the back, and he's running toward these people. And there's just blood just running all over him. 9 years old, mind you. Anyway, it wasn't the police that shot him. Thank God there was a security guard that was there, shot him in the stomach, and he died. But these homeless people, I mean,
I'm surprised that they didn't arrest the security guard.
Oh, I'm sure he's being investigated. I'm sure. But listen, let me tell you something. These homeless people, they have serious issues. No, when I was a kid growing up, we had like mental institutions where they sent these people to, but they don't send them. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know. But you would think, but I don't think they have the room for them. I don't think they have I don't know. I have no idea. But I remember back in the days, they would put them like in these big hospitals, these mental institutions. In fact, by where the Grove is, and they have that huge, all those apartments. What are those names? Do you know the ones I'm talking about? They're all over there.
Park La Brea.
Park La Brea. Do you know that used to be a mental institution? Yeah, you should Google it. You should go in and look at the history behind that. Then what they did was they shut it down, and then they went in there and they built Park La Brea. Huge. That was a.
When I lived in Koreatown.
That's why you got the guard shacks there and everything.
When I lived in Koreatown, I'd walk in Koreatown all the way down to Park La Brea, and I'd walk my dog every day, and I was like, wow, it's just like.
You know how I found out about that? So one day I was going to meet a friend of mine over there, and I drove up. And I was, you have to go through security to get in that place. So, and the security guard just started talking to me, and he's like, hey, you know what this place used to be? And I'm like, no, what was it? He said, this used to be a mental ward. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He says, yeah, it was big, huge. And so now it is, yeah, it is, right? There's a lot of mental people is in there, that's for sure. And they used to do all these kind of weird programs with, putting things in your head and all this kind of stuff. But now you got them running around on the street. So a lot of these homeless people, they're not right. They're not right. So, I could see a guy going in. That's why there needs to be intervention. There really needs to be intervention. And it's not just here in California. It's all across the globe. Oregon, New York. Look at New York. In New York, if you're standing waiting for your, for your train or your subway, you could get possibly pushed onto the tracks.
I saw that.
Or beaten up for no reason. Beaten up. Hey, I want to show you a video. This Senator Hawley from Missouri. Have you been watching him?
Oh, he was beautiful.
He ain't fucking around. Let me tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
He went after the FBI director, Ray. And he has good reason to. Because our FBI, first of all, our FBI director should step down. And then there should be a huge investigation into him, I think. Because the things that are being said, now I'm just going by what I'm hearing, right? Okay. I don't know this guy personally. I don't have any, all I know is what's being said. And everything that's being said looks pretty positive. So I want you to see this. I want you all to watch this video and tell me what your thoughts are on it.
I think the last time that I got to visit with you was back in August 4th of this year. You were at the Senate Judiciary Committee. You remember that, I assume. We had to cut that hearing short. We were supposed to do 2 rounds of questions. You said you had to be somewhere, so we cut it short. Republicans were not able to ask a second round as we had been informed we would. The press reported shortly thereafter that the reason that the hearing had to be cut short is because you were flying on a Gulfstream jet for a personal vacation in the Adirondacks. Please tell me that's not accurate.
Senator, the hearing was not cut short from my experience. We had agreed beforehand on the time and length of it, and I was very surprised to find that anyone on the committee was surprised. As to how I fly, I am required, not only permitted, but required to fly on an FBI plane wherever I go.
So you were going on vacation?
I was, yes.
So you left a statutorily required oversight hearing in order to go on a personal vacation in the Adirondacks?
I took a flight to go visit my family, as had been previously arranged.
Notice how he's looking down.
No.
He looks up.
Of the committee.
The ranking member, Chuck Grassley, asked you during the hearing, he said, I assume you must have other business. You said, yes. He then said, if you have a business trip, you've got your own plane, can't it wait a while? He then said, Chuck Grassley, we only just heard half an hour ago that now you have to leave. We were going to have a 7-minute round followed by a 3-minute round. I've got 7 people on my side of the aisle, that included me, who are waiting for this additional round. Is there any reason we can't accommodate them for 21 minutes? And you said you had a plane to catch. You had somewhere to go. And now we find out it was for vacation?
The reference to other business was not a reference to that day. It was a reference to the following week where Senator Grassley and I were going to see each other in Iowa when I had other business in Iowa, and I did, in fact, see him then.
Wait, you had to leave the hearing early because you're going to see him later in Iowa in a week?
No, I had to leave when I said I was going to have to leave, as had been previously organized with the leadership of the committee.
You left an oversight hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee required by statute so you could vacation with your family. I find that absolutely unbelievable and, frankly, indefensible. Now,
so I think that Holly is calling him a liar. Was calling him a liar the way it looks like.
Ray is a scumbag.
I mean, this guy. And by the way, that's all taxpayers' money. He's flying around on these jets, going on vacations and different things like that. This guy is a true scumbag. And I'm sure there's other people that feel the same.
They need to do a deep house cleaning at the FBI. The FBI has become so corrupt, it's basically a law enforcement arm of the Democratic Party. Yeah, the whistleblowers.
Like 18 whistleblowers,
Yeah,
and now they literally have.
Can you play the clip of Josh Hawley talking about the whistleblowers who have come forward and said?
I don't have it. I don't have it.
Okay, but there's Josh Hawley talks about all the whistleblowers from the FBI who have come forward and said how the FBI has taken people off human trafficking cases, child abuse cases, to put them into just attacking the January 6th people. This is incredible. This is unbelievable. They've just become a political institution to protect the Democrat Party. And hearing all these people come forward, how they've lied. I mean, obviously they had people.
All right, I got it. I got it queued up. You want to watch it? You want to see it? You want to see it? All right, watch it. Here we go. I got it.
For being here. Thanks for your testimony.
Thank you.
I want to make sure I get this straight. You've stated today and in your report that about 4,000 Twitter employees are classified as engineers. Is that right?
Yes, sir. At the time, half the employees, I believe there were 7,000 plus full-time employees.
That's the right one.
Got it. And that means that these
with Christopher
4,000-ish employees would have had access to live user data all over Twitter.
This Holly
they could
is
access
hard off. That out.
Yeah, but there's one there. It's I think it's the same day of him going the one you played, but it shows how all of these FBI agents have stepped forward at the risk of losing their
This
job.
is Mongolia, and we are not them. The only company in the world who created a premium 100% cashmere sweater for just $75.
All right, let's go. Let's play this.
This week we've seen two more examples.
Yeah, here we go.
Big tech and other big corporations
I
catering to the political left at every turn. Now, remember on Monday we told you about how quickly
I don't
credit
have it steered up, Andy. So.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about it.
Here you
Okay.
got me
has the
looking.
capability not only to track individuals.
Well, here we go.
Had access to all of the personal information, user data, geolocations of Twitter users.
Yeah, that's not it.
Is that accurate?
I keep getting the Twitter users.
So
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not
and he joined the
But tell me about this.
Yeah,
though.
so he talked about all the the FBI agents who have come forward as whistleblowers to talk about how the FBI has been biased, how they've put all their resources to the January people who did very, very minor things on January 6th, and taking away from very serious other crimes like human trafficking, child abuse cases, all kinds of things. The FBI has moved their focus to the January 6th people, and how biased the FBI has been.
You did? I don't have it on here.
So, yeah, I mean it's astonishing, and he really, really grills him on that.
That's interesting. I'll tell you something. I heard him talking about Twitter. It's interesting because right now what we're hearing is that Twitter is on lockdown. They've got everybody locked out. Have you heard about this?
They're saying Twitter's dead. That's that.
What's Elon saying?
Well, Elon is saying that he and his team now are terrified that employees are going to sabotage the company, and that they're still trying to figure out which Twitter workers they need to cut access for. So what they did is, I guess, hundreds of Twitter remaining employees have now reportedly resigned ahead of Musk's extremely hardcore cultural reset of the company, because he's doing a reset of everything. And Musk gave this ultimatum to his employees to either commit to the company's new hardcore work environment or leave. And what a lot of workers have done is they've declined to sign on that they want to stay any further. So they're taking their severance pay and they're just walking out the door is what they're actually doing right now.
Yeah,
so
they just couldn't deal with the fact that they weren't getting their lunch for free.
No, or their ping pong games, or their
Elon Musk. I don't know how Elon. I'm going to just say something directly to you. I got to say, How could
You're
you
saying this to Elon?
I'm saying this to Elon. How could you How could you take their lunch away from them? Of all things,
yeah,
a free lunch. I really, when I heard that, just my heart dropped to the floor. Elon, you are so cruel. You are so
bad
inhuman.
man, Elon. Taking away their steak dinners and
their free lunch, right?
their free lunch.
Yeah.
Didn't they got a lot of stuff, didn't they?
I'm sure they had a lot of perks and benefits. They were living it up there. It was like, that's why they were crying.
Well, yesterday,
when he came in
listen
there.
to this. Yesterday afternoon, a lot of these employees decided that they wanted to take their severance pay. And what that did was that created a cloud of confusion over which people would still have access to the actual property, right? In other words, being in there. And according to a memo that was seen by Bloomberg and reports from Platform, Twitter closed its offices now until Monday, urging these employees to please continue to comply with company policy by refraining from discussing confidential information on social media with the press and elsewhere. So I think Elon is kind of like getting a little discouraged that they could easily sabotage his company and shut the company down.
Yeah, he's got to get rid of all the moles and all the.
So I'm sure he's up there in San Francisco with his little blue bird on top of it. What is that kind of bird anyway? Anyway, a little bird, blue sparrow. A little tweet. But anyway, and they're up there trying to figure out what they're going to do. I could just see them in the war room right now. What are we going to do with these people? It's crazy. Hey, and then also on the other news front, that woman, that scammer, she was worth billions of dollars. She was in front of on Bloomberg magazine. She was in the cover of Forbes magazine. She was all over the place for quite a while there. Elizabeth Holmes. Yeah. In fact, they even did didn't they even do a movie series on her, right?
Yeah.
Who played that? She was pretty good. I watched it actually.
I didn't. I know.
But now she's facing Judgment Day, and I think it's today in Silicon Valley when she gets it. She's looking at 15 years. Did she have the baby yet? Do you know? She was pregnant or something? But anyway, in that the point I'm making here is you can get scammed by anybody really, really quick. That's why you want to make sure. And hers was not a hard asset either. Remember, it was just a machine that was supposed to be taking your blood and telling you if you have cancer or if you have liver disease. This was a miracle machine that she created, and that it would tell you whatever kind of anything was wrong with you or in the future would be wrong with you. In other words, she was a psychic. And she could foretell with her little box that she could tell that everything was, what was going to be wrong with you. And a lot of people fell for it. Like CBS fell for it. A lot of these big chains.
How did she become a billionaire? She received funding?
Yeah, there was big money that was being funded into that, right? She had a huge corporation over there in Silicon Valley. It was a big deal. And then it turns out, just like Sam the Scam Man, Fraud Man, Poodle Hair Shaman, whatever his name. Whatever it is. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, turns out she's a scammer too. And now she's going to prison. Federal prison just as well.
So she received funding without a working product?
It was a fake box. It was a fake box that never did anything. But she made people believe that it produced results, yeah. Just like Sam the Scam Man, Poodle Hair Shaman. He did the same thing. He made it look like his crypto, his exchange was the best of them of the best, right? But yet he was siphoning your money on the back end. He was cooking the books. Hey, not only do we have to worry about a railroad strike in the next 7 days, but also there's news out that that a power blackout risk looms for the quarter of all Americans right now. And the power grids from Great Lakes to Louisiana, New England, Carolina, and all of Texas are at the most risk right now for power supply shortfalls during these high demand periods right now.
I think Klaus Schwab said something about
He did say, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Remember we talked about this the other day when Klaus Schwab talks from the WEF, things happen. I mean, come on. They were doing drills for COVID, right? Before COVID even came in. In other words, they created a pandemic, just like they're creating bank runs. They talk about bank runs. They talk about the grid shutting down, blackouts shutting down. What else, Rob? What else do they talk about?
I mean, they're talking about every single form of disaster that could go ahead and put you at a deficit. I mean, this guy's not talking about what could potentially happen. This guy's instructing, on what is going to happen, right? He's giving them instructions, and this is the exact reason why, if there is a rolling blackout, if, the internet goes down or if anything goes down, you need a form of currency to barter with.
Let me touch on that for a minute. So you guys had a great day out while I was gone yesterday. There was a great day in the office. There was a lot of deals that were done, meaning a lot of clients came in, purchased gold and silver. There were some IRAs, a lot of IRAs that were done. What do you think? Why do you think people are finally seeing the light and coming to the light? What do you think the reason is?
Well, because they see that they're losing control over their financial well-being, right? They're in the last phase of actually doing something about protecting their retirement savings, and they understand that their financial well-being is being attacked. Well, there's many ways it's being attacked. You have the insolvency, liquidity crunch that some banks are facing right now. You have some individuals that understand that with central bank digital currency being rolled out by the New York Fed and some of these huge processors like Visa, MasterCard, you have banks right now like Wells Fargo, HSBC, and many other banking giants test piloting CBDC. They have no shot. They're losing control.
Yeah. We're on the verge of an economic collapse. Yeah. And, there was a huge political news story this week, but you would not have known it if you had listened to the Lion Legacy media, as we call it. And they simply did not cover anything on Donald Trump's announcement to run for president again in 2024 on Tuesday, 11/15/2022. And is that not big news? That's big news, right? And of course, it's no matter if you like him or not. This proves beyond a shadow of doubt that the so-called news organizations are in the tank for the globalist cable. And that includes leadership of both parties. And it's a miracle, but the Republicans who control or won the control of the House of Representatives, it was a complete miracle in my book. And first on to the do list is investigate right away President Joe Biden. And listen, they say, we're not coming after Hunter Biden. We want Joe Biden. Why? Because Joe Biden literally has connections with a lot of people overseas. He's the big guy. Right. And he's the big man, right? The big guy. And the incoming House leadership now is investigating Biden for felonies such as wire fraud, money laundering, and there's a lot more, just to name a few. And meanwhile, the governor's race in Arizona is still now contested by Carrie Lake. And she has no plans to concede. In fact, she's lawyering up now. That's what she's doing. And the media is calling her an election denier. It's interesting. They knew this was going to, because they kept saying, well, if you lose, are you going to deny it? And she would never say yes or no, right? But she has all the right, as far as I'm concerned, from what I see, she has all the right for a re-election by the way things were handled in Maricopa County.
Absolutely.
Right? Same thing that happened with Trump back then as well.
Absolutely.
They got away with it. I don't know if they're going to get away with it this time. It's
hard to make sure that your printers have ink In an election, it's very difficult. They have to make sure the ballot is the right size paper going into the machine. These are complicated things, and they're the great technicians in Maricopa County. I think these guys are these are wonderful people. They're doing a great job, and I think they should be praised.
Well, the 2022 midterm election, it'll probably now be settled in court, what it looks like. Because now they're lawyering up, right? There's lawyers involved now. It's getting interesting. And there are some other election hot spots. Pennsylvania is on the list right now, right? They're starting to, same thing. And patriots there now are trying to stop the actual certification because of irregularities and fraud. That's what's happening over in Pennsylvania right now. And anybody still thinking that the Fed is going to pivot and start lowering interest rates is in a dreamland of their own, because that ain't happening. The Feds are going to continue to raise interest rates. And the Fed's new funds largest rate now is at as high as 7%, right? And the Fed fund rate is now around 4%. And the Fed is determined to fight inflation and the economy and the employment to be damned. Massive layoffs. You're going to see a lot right here. We're already starting to see it. I started saying it months ago. I've been saying it over 6 months ago. Right after COVID, I said, we're going to start seeing massive layoffs, and it's going to look like it's COVID, but it's not COVID. It's the economy. The economy is shutting itself down. And no doubt that you have FTX now, the crypto implosion, which is going to lead to high economic problems and expose major parts of the financial and political system to be a total fraud test. And this, while new shadowstats.com data and analysis is showing a deepening economic collapse. Take some of the risk off the table and harden your physical and financial position. This is why the phones have been ringing like crazy. 800-753-8534. If you want to talk to me direct, give me a call. 323-380-5485. 323-380-5485. This is why you want to start getting yourself in hard assets, because everything that I just stated to you is not a hoax. It's real. It's not fake. It's not synthetic like debt is. Debt is synthetic. Remember, I say this over and over and over. Many governments, including the United States, go so far as to create inflation. The reason they do this is it's a key factor for them to help them to depreciate the debt, yet they destroy the dollar, and they do it through a process called hyperinflation. And that's what you felt, and that's what you're feeling is hyperinflation right now. And inflation is going nowhere. Don't let them fool you. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, I feel my heart goes out to those this year for Thanksgiving who won't be able to go ahead and have a, delicious, abundant, Thanksgiving meal, right? There's going to be a lot of families out there this Thanksgiving and, hopefully not in Christmas to where they're not going to be able to provide an amazing experience for Christmas and Thanksgiving. My heart goes out to them.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, all of these layoffs, all these people that are being laid off, God help us if the railroad goes on strike.
It's going to go on strike. It's not if.
God, don't say that.
It will.
Don't put that out there. Let's hope that they can figure out a way to stop that, because if that happens, Rob, do you realize what would happen if the railroad goes on strike? That means that there's no way to get anything to the truckers. There's no way to get anything to the stores. There's going to be hunger. That can't happen. The government.
It will happen because.
No, don't put that out there.
It will happen. Man. I'm not putting it out there. It's already out there. The arena has been. The stage has been set, right? The World Economic Forum, the ones at the top, the deep state, whatever you want to call them, right? The insidious, unorganic beings out there. they need this to happen so that the reset happens, right? I'm just a realist, and let's hope it doesn't happen. But hey, it's leaning like it's going to happen.
I got to tell you something. It would be the worst disaster in this country if the railroad went on strike. It wouldn't even be. I'm checking something right now. I've just got to see what's happening with this because, they rejected the union's sick leave demands, and this is serious stuff. And according to,
it's interesting. Who controls a lot of the railroads is Warren Buffett, and he was part of the reason the Keystone Pipeline was rejected because he wanted to move all of that oil on his rail lines rather than through the pipeline. He makes huge amount of money from that. So he's obviously a far leftist. He's connected with Bill Gates. He's connected with, I'm sure he's connected with the World Economic Forum. And they may be pushing this strike and not making any reasonable negotiation in order to put a food crunch on us to get us, to push us along, to get us to that point where, they control everything.
Well, let me tell you something,
food,
Andy.
right?
This economic fallout from a short strike, like short of a strike, and this is coming from the associations of the American Railroad, they estimate could cost the economy $2 billion a day, and that could propel Congress to step in. And how would that play out in a lame-duck session remains to be seen right now. And Congress can't allow a national freight rail strike to go on for more than a few days. And this is what a former Biden White House advisor on labor and economic issues. But it's hard to imagine that the Democrats putting themselves into a position where they're renegotiating for paid leave from the union. This is heavy stuff. And that strike threat was averted, but now it's back on again. And we're just 7 days away from that. And let me tell you, the Brotherhood of Maintenance of Way Employees, the division of the Teamsters that represents, it's 23,000 who maintain and build railroad tracks, voted the deal down on October the 10th. And 2 weeks later, the railroad signalmen, which is 6,300 rail workers who operate the network single system, voted their deal down. And this week, the International Brotherhood of Boilermakers, which represents 300 workers, also rejected its proposed contract. But whether the workers' strike is likely to come down to the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineer and Tradesmen and the Transportation Division of Sheet Metal, Air, Rail, and Transportation Workers goes on and on. There's another group that represents about 50,000 railroad employees. About half of all the freight rail workers, depending on the results of their vote, could strike as soon as December the 9th.
Yeah, that would be catastrophic.
No, it's to the point here where somebody's got to step in and do something. But the way it's looking, these guys are literally determined to dig their heels in and fight. Because, think about it. Think about this. If you were a union worker and you knew that you could cripple the economy, you could shut the economy down, you'd do it because you would get bailed out. Think about it. It's almost like 2008 when all the banks got bailed out, right? If those banks would have all fallen, what would have happened? Would have been a catastrophe. Well, guess what? We're looking at the same damn thing today in 2022, but now we're looking at it with the railroads. So do you think that they're about to let the railroads cripple this country? And do you and let me tell you, if I do. Andy, if I was a rail worker and I was representing the union, I'd do this. because I know that I'm going to get what I'm asking for because I could cripple the country. So it'll be interesting. But remember this, folks. Should this happen, more money is going to have to be printed, and more inflation is going to come out of this. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Stay tuned. See you on Monday. Have a great weekend. God bless every single one of you. And it's been a great week. Been a great week. You guys got anything you want to say before we sign out?
Yeah, we'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.